We have come to feel good when we're efficient. So we want so badly to be productive and efficient in every moment of our lives. And when I can reframe unproductivity by being productive, like time sitting with tea, it's so unproductive. It's so inefficient. There's nothing physical, or I can't prove what I did during that time. There's nothing that I can deliver at the end of that time. But those practices are the ones that allow us to fill our cups up and to connect with our intuition and our power and create, become better at problem solving and connect with our peace and our truth. And that is so important. It's much more important than anything I could have gotten done in that 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, whatever I spent with tea.
Hello and welcome to Curious Ones podcast by Yandara. I'm Yael Ginzburg, the host of the podcast, a yoga and meditation teacher and philosophy lover. Each week you will hear eye-opening interviews with the different teachers of the Yandara Yoga Institute located in beautiful Baja, Mexico, along with other teachers that pass through here. This life-changing knowledge shared through authentic, heartfelt communication will help you live a happier, more fulfilled, and connected life. Let's dive in. I'm so excited to have my guest today, Sarah Scarborough. Sarah is also known as Tea Huntress, and she shares the art and ritual of tea through a quarterly membership where she shares different rituals, clean teas, botanical formulations, educational events, retreats, and tea ceremonies, of course. I was also lucky enough to attend one of Sarah's tea ceremonies, and I have to say it was just a magical experience. I enjoyed it so much. I felt so relaxed and calm and peaceful, and I'm so happy to be able to share this conversation with you. So welcome to the podcast, Sarah.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So let's start with, what is a tea ceremony? Maybe you can talk a little bit about the origins, the preparation, what is the process, how does it look like?
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of an interesting paradigm shift for us to make in our minds because we've normalized tea so much in our culture, right? We have like tea or coffee and a breakfast tea or a chai. And so it's sort of hard to sort of shift to the idea of tea being a meditation or a plant spirit medicine. But if you rewind the history of tea back millennia to the very origins, tea is from Yunnan, China. And in Yunnan, China, there are hill tribe people that have revered tea as a goddess for millennia, and they believe that they came from tea. And so they protect the tea trees and treat them with reverence and care, and they harvest only once a year, and they create maximum potency in the plant. And so because tea has a unique energetic frequency that has the ability to, they call these plants entheogens, tea has the ability to teach us about life, about death, to guide us, to help us get clarity, to help us ground. And so that's the energetic frequency, the vibration, the kind of essence of tea. And when we drink teas that are from these wild groves or primitive families of tea trees, they have this potency. And so for that reason, tea has become ceremonialized and ritualized in cultures around the world for millennia, really. So tea ceremony exists in all different cultures. And I pour a couple of different styles of tea ceremony that I've learned either in Morocco or in Taiwan. But there's Japanese tea ceremony. There's so many different ways to ceremonialize tea. But the reason why is because tea lives in this plant spirit medicine family, this entheogen family. And so it has this ability to guide us and to heal us. And when we create sacred space, we really can amplify and activate that energy. And it's, like you experienced, it's magic, and it blows me away every time I finish a tea ceremony. It's so transformative and so magical and beautiful. And it just, it's mind-blowing kind of, because it's tea, you know?
Yes. Yeah, as you said, that was exactly my experience because, tea is something that is so common for us. We have it in every household. We do it all the time. But I do it when I'm doing something else. I never really pay that much attention to it. But just being in that space that you cultivated and seeing every movement was just filled with intention, with your energy, with this energy of creating a space for ourselves. It was just so beautiful and so magical.
Yeah, it is. I talk a lot about the medicine in the leaf and the rhythm of the practice, and then the sacred space. So there's tenets of tea ceremony like harmony and respect. And so it is about respecting the guest, and it is about balance and peace, and, creating a harmonious environment. And I think the big difference, and the reason why when we have a cup of tea, it's beautiful and we can maybe drink that for our physical health benefits and take it on the go or eat it with food or something. But the vibration, the sound, the potency of these teas that we steep in ceremony is their volumes turned up because of their genetic integrity and because of the way that they've been grown and the way they've been processed and the way they've been stored and then the way that they are steeped. And so then, and that's like the medicine in the leaf, but then the rhythm of the practice has to do with the exact, like you mentioned, the exact motions and how it all works. And you sort of get entranced in a way, when you watch the spinning bowls, and then you have like this alchemic elemental experience of the incense is wafting up with the air, and then you see the steam rising from the bowls, and you have the earth in the tea cups and also in the tea leaves. And then you have like the fire crackling on the side, the heat, the brazier, and, of course, the water in the kettle. And so there's something quite primal, and it creates like a remembering in this elemental alchemic situation that happens in tea ceremony. And it's just ineffable. It's hard to put words on. People say, like, how do you show this to people? Like, how do you market it, tea ceremony to people? And I think my answer is like, well, I don't really. I mean, tea finds people who are meant to find tea. And when you drop in, you have that experience, a light bulb kind of goes off, and you drop into that magical experience, and in that moment, the world kind of slips away, and you just are left with the essence of what's true and what's real. And it's all in this dance of earth, water, wind, fire, the music, the incense, the tea, the rhythm. And there's nothing like it. Truly, I mean, cacao is ceremonialized in a much different way. And other plants, of course, are ceremonialized in different ways. But each plant has its specific frequency, its energy, its personality. And the ceremonies are created to activate or enhance that essence. Cacao ceremonies, like very passionate and heart opening and fun and kind of lively. And the ceremony with tea is a lot more meditative. And it has, in the leaf itself, there are certain compounds. So it has caffeine, as we know, it creates this alert state of mind, but a lot of people don't know that it has L-theanine in it. And L-theanine is an amino acid that puts our brains into alpha state. And so it puts you into this like Zen mind when you drink a high L-theanine tea. And then there's also GABA, which is a stress reaction inhibitor. And so it puts you into a relaxed state of mind. Theobromine also exists in tea, which is very heart opening. And so, that's the medicine of the leaf. Like there's this combination of alert, calm, focus, which is what the Zen Buddhist monks who were responsible for spreading the cultivation and use of tea around the whole world connected with the leaf because of the Zen mind, because they were able to tap into that meditative mind that they craved. And I find that after ceremony, often I just drop into a meditation, and I always am frustrated that I have to come back out. Like I always want more time. Sometimes I think I could just drink tea and meditate for like hours if I allowed myself the space to do that and just drop into that kind of blissful, connected, kind of floaty, happy, magical space. So beautiful.
Definitely. I definitely felt that throughout the ceremony. I didn't really need to try to meditate. It just kind of pulled me in and dropped me into this meditation.
Yeah, it is that way. It makes it so easy. So when I have trained with who I learned tea ceremony from in Taiwan, a man named Wuda, and he has a platform called Global Tea Hut where he teaches people ceremony and tea meditation. And I learned tea ceremony from him. But when you go there, or he doesn't do it anymore, but when you used to go there to train with him, the days were kind of like at Yandara, like lots of clean, not lots, but clean food twice a day, nothing toxic for your body, and you're in silence and you're meditating, which isn't the case here always, but there is that sacred silence. And then there's a lot of meditation and chanting. And so I feel like through him and through that space, I've been kind of, I don't know, like practiced coming into deeper meditations all by myself in just a very classic meditation way. You know, I've trained in TM, transcendental meditation, and some other forms of meditation. And sometimes they're really hard. I mean, sometimes it is hard for me to sit still and to clear my mind. I get bored and my mind goes all over the place. But tea, it's like she just takes you and she's like, come with me, you know, we're going to meditate. And next thing you know, you've just dropped into this really deep, beautiful subconscious place that you didn't have to try. And it isn't difficult because it's like a moving meditation, right? It's like yoga. You're not moving your body in asana, but there's movement and you're watching the movement, and it's just water and air and earth and fire, and it's really like entrancing.
Something that you obviously mentioned, and it's funny because for me, I don't always associate tea with plants, but actually, of course, when we're talking about tea, we're talking about plants and like the healing energies, the healing qualities that each plant has.
Right, right. Yeah, I do think, I mean, there's certain plants again that fall into that world of entheogen, you know, the god plants that have been deemed that way by their cultures. But what I love to share with people, and I think one of the big things that I do through Tea Huntress is to share the energetics of plants with people and not just the physical benefits, you know, that we associate with tea, and all the different plants that we steep like tea into botanical infusions, but also each plant has its own personality. I think of them as friends. So, you know, there's certain friends you might want to go out with, or that you might want to meditate with, or you might want to go running or swimming with, or eat with, or whatever. And plants are the same way. So there's plants when you need courage, plants when you need to find balance, plants when you need to calm down, plants when you need to speed up. I mean, it's Mother Nature's medicine chest. And to me, it's the most beautiful way to connect to this wisdom of Mother Earth and this energy of the earth. And, you know, as we know, like any connection to the earth is so healing. When we swim in the ocean or the river or the creek, when we bathe under the moon or the sun, when we take our clothes off and run around a bonfire, or whatever, it's like raising our own vibration, you know, it's turning our own volume up, and then we become more magnetic and more in flow and more aligned and more connected on our own paths. And then life becomes this beautiful dance. And I think, to me anyway, plants are such a beautiful way to, a beautiful embodiment practice. You know, it's like when you start to understand, even at a basic level, that roses are about balance. And they're about beauty and they're calm, but they really can bring that energy in, you know, and most flowers have something to do with the emotional body. So flower essences like Bach flower remedies are all built on this idea that flowers are emotional support system. And each flower, you know, borage is great for courage and for the heart. And chamomile, of course, is very relaxing and calming. And of course, again, the rose is beauty and balance. Hibiscus is like passion and joy and, you know, beauty also in a much louder way. And so flowers particularly are really great for emotional support. And when we begin to work with them, we see their potency and we have this ability to take over our own emotional state and wellness, and physical and emotional. And that's so needed right now when, you know, we're at this place where the world is so fast and so loud. And if you don't have these practices where you're like connecting with the earth slowing down, creating beauty, creating stillness, like aligning with the energy that you want to embody. I mean, that's what it is. It's like you're aligning with the energy you want to embody. So if I want to be more protected or more prosperous or more outgoing or more meditative or more heartful, like you can connect with plants that will do that. And it's like we've forgotten, I mean, humans have been healing themselves with plants for millennia, and we are remembering right now. We're coming back into a remembering and a time of this like receptivity and intuition and empowerment through understanding the plants of the earth. But it's so profound to me that every environment in the world has some healing potent plant that has been used for curing cancer and for like curing heartache or heartbreak and that are ceremonialized in whatever way. And I think also what I love to share is that, not everybody's going to just know every single quality of every single plant. And that's overwhelming to think about. You can get a book, of course, but basically every plant steeped is awesome. When I start doing health benefits or emotional benefits, they just go on and on and on and on and on. They're all about anti-inflammation. They're all about like, calming the nervous system. They're all about disease prevention. So many plants hold similar values. So I think what I love to share with people is just drink what you like, drink what resonates with you. Like we all have intuition in our DNA about plants. Our forefathers had to intuit whether or not that's going to kill them or foremothers, if this one's going to kill them or if this one's going to heal them. And so it's just a beautiful practice. It's a beautiful way to commune with earth, with nature and ourselves and to heal ourselves emotionally, spiritually, physically.
It's very true. It's like we kind of, as a society, went away from plants as healers when we got the modern medicine. And of course, there's a lot of benefit to that. And sometimes it's completely necessary. But we kind of lost this connection to the plants, the earth, the living beings that are around us and available to us, right?
Right. Like you might not, sometimes you need the Western medicine. You need to really like attack the problem. But as an ongoing daily practice, like a ritual and just a wellness practice, a daily cup of tea, and make it something great, like a great herb or something that you love, that you really connect to. And I think what you said is so true in so many areas of our life that we've forgotten our wisdom. We've forgotten our connection, and certain cultures, I think, have done a better job holding on to it than others. And, industrial revolution, there's a lot of different reasons that we can say that we have forgotten modern medicine, big pharma, all these things. We gave up our power, we gave up our connection, we gave up our truth, our knowledge. And I really feel, we're like just entering the age of Aquarius, right? So I feel like it's all about the yin returning, the divine feminine. It's all about more receptivity, surrender, intuition, and valuing these more feminine qualities of healing with plants and intuition and receptivity and listening and collaborating, and not just the more linear, yang, kind of masculine aspects that we've been living under, which are like where I think modern medicine and big pharma and a more linear, decisive, A plus B equals C kind of mindset. And we've come to feel so safe in that linear structure. And we've become, I think, to feel quite unsafe sometimes in like the vast unknown of like the organic flow of life. But I think when we can flex those muscles by the practices that we keep and begin to like really flow with our lives, that's when we become whole people. So it's not like it's just about yin or yang. Obviously it's both. Or right. It's not like it's just only drink herbs and never take modern medicine. It's both. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where our true power and health and wellness lies, in the balance of both.
Hey, I'm quickly interrupting the episode to extend an invitation. If you are interested in deepening into any of the subjects we talk about on the podcast, we offer many different experiences on our beautiful grounds here in Baja, Mexico. From 9-day modules such as sound healing and yoga nidra to breath and meditation, as well as 200 or 300-hour yoga teacher trainings and many different shorter retreats. Check out our website yandara.com to see all the information about the different experiences. Let's get back to the episode.
That's so true. We kind of gave away our power. We keep looking for things outside of ourselves that are going to make us happy. The person, the job, the status, or the fast solution, the medicine, the drug, alcohol, turning on the TV, scrolling on Instagram, all these things that distract us from the true power that is actually within us. It's really taking the power away from us when the power is in us all along.
Right. I love what you said about scrolling on Instagram, because I'm a little guilty of that from time to time. But,
all of us.
but this is one thing I love so much about tea practice is that you're creating time every day where you're just doing nothing. You're getting still. It's so beautiful. It's so heart opening. It's so good. Like physically, I feel like it's I'm half Finnish. And so I love the sauna, like the sweat culture, right? And I feel when I drink 3 cups of tea or more that I do this internal cleanse, this internal bathing. And so from so many perspectives, it's such a healthy wellness practice. And, but also for the sake of just having time in your day every day where you are decidedly not scrolling on Instagram, doing work, looking at a computer, or really doing anything. And I think this is another yin aspect that we have come to feel good when we're efficient. So we want so badly to be productive and efficient in every moment of our lives. And when I can reframe unproductivity by being productive, like time sitting with tea, it's so unproductive. It's so inefficient. There's nothing physical, or I can't prove what I did during that time. There's nothing that I can deliver at the end of that time. But those practices are the ones that allow us to fill our cups up and to connect with our intuition and our power and create, become better at problem solving and connect with our peace and our truth. And that is so important. It's much more important than anything I could have gotten done in that 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, whatever I spent with tea. I love Carl Jung said that there are 3 things a human has to do every day to be happy, healthy, and whole. And one is a meditation practice. And whether it's 5 minutes or 2 hours, it doesn't matter. A movement practice, again, 5 minutes, doesn't matter. And then he said the third thing and the most important thing is to do nothing. And so to get quiet in nature and to just be. And he said, you must do this for 1 hour every day outside. And It's sort of a hard thing to do, to just take an hour outside and just stare at the sky or stare at the leaves. But I know when I was a little girl growing up in the forest in Finland, I would do that. I would sit in the forest and just watch the ants. And they taught me and watch the leaves. And I'm like, oh, that's how the universe works. Oh, I get that now. And I feel that so much when I look at the flowers, the leaves, the trees, the clouds, whatever. If I look long enough and sit long enough, I always get a gift of wisdom, some understanding, some deeper understanding of like how the cosmos and the universe works, because it's all mirrored in nature. And so we get confused in our minds. But when we drop out of our minds and connect with nature and listen to her, watch her, then it's like, you get so much wisdom, and it's so simple to do. And again, it's just a remembering. And once you start, I think those practices, right? Like sit with tea, go outside, connect with nature, stare at the sky, you see how potent it is and how life-changing it is. And so I think then we become more and more apt to do the practices, but it's the starting. You have to do the practice to start to flex the muscle and get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's like exercise.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I find so beautiful, that there are so many different ways that we can just meditate and find these moments of stillness. So you introduced me to a new one. I'll never pour a cup of tea the same way again. And it's something so simple. Everybody does it already. It's just about taking this time and really setting it aside for stillness and quiet and not letting yourself be distracted. I know it for myself, like I sit down 1 second, I don't have what to do with my hands. I reach for my phone and, start doing something. And I'm really trying to notice that and stop myself when I'm doing that, and then like revert my attention either to something more productive or, productive in whatever way that you define it.
I think it's so interesting. We're just coming into this time of needing those practices more. And the thing I love about tea as a practice is how simple it is. And I think people get overwhelmed with tea because there's so many kinds of tea. There's so many kinds of teaware. People don't know how much tea to use and how to steep it. It's just notoriously difficult for people. They get confused. And often too, on the tea packages that you buy, it'll say 2.5 grams with 205-degree water and 65 seconds. And that's overwhelming because it's like, I don't walk around with a thermometer. I don't walk around with a measuring cup. And it takes the practice and the beauty out of it when you add those linear metric elements, I think. But what I love to teach people is that it's so simple. It's just leaves and water. And the origin story of tea that we think of in our modern history is that there was an emperor named Shen Nung, and he was a legendary herbalist emperor in China. And in the year 2737 BC, he famously was meditating under a tree with his bowl of hot water, and the wind blew, and it blew a leaf into his bowl, and he drank the first cup of tea and was so astounded by the health benefits and spiritual and mental benefits that he spread the use of tea to all his people. So that's like the beginning legendary story of tea discovery, I guess. But what I love about that is that it was just a leaf and a bowl of water. And truly, that's all it is. It's just a leaf and a bowl of water. And I always tell people that tea will teach you how to steep it. So especially if you just do like leaves in a bowl like that, you'll notice, is it too strong? Do you like it? Okay, add more water if it's too strong. Or maybe don't use such hot water. Or, is it weak? Do you need more? What's your preference? What's your water like? And it's, to me, silly to think that if you follow these exact directions for the tea and you're in Paris and I'm following the exact directions for the tea, you're in Paris in the winter, I'm in Mexico in the winter, we're using different teacups, we're in different environments, we have different water. Those 2 cups of tea are going to be vastly different. So the idea that you can follow a recipe to get an outcome is just not true. It's more about honing your intuition and just being in the practice and allowing the practice to form you and shape you. But I do love to tell people it's just really so simple. It's just leaves and water. Let's not complicate it so much. But also because we've relied on these tea bags, we've taken our power away. We just put the tea bag in the hot water and don't think about what's inside or how it works. Just add a cup of hot water. But when you take the leaves out of the bag and you start working with loose leaves, then you can see them, you can watch them unfurl, you can watch the essence of them extract into the water, and it becomes this beautiful practice. And then you learn how to steep tea.
Taking the power back.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. How would you say would be a good way for somebody to start a daily practice with tea?
It's really simple. All you really need is some kind of a bowl or a mug or some kind of vessel to have the tea in. And then you need some high potency teas. So either from wild groves or from ancient trees or naturally farmed or organic or otherwise, like with genetic integrity and high vibration teas. And then really it's just a matter of creating the space, and you can create the sacred space by adding incense or music. And I have playlists on Spotify under Tea Huntress. Or on, by adding in flowers that are seasonal, or maybe a favorite stone or rock, or just something that connects you with nature. There's a lot of ways that you can enhance the practice, but the most simple way is just really to get a bowl or a cup, and then the tea, whether you use a teapot or whatever you use, it doesn't really matter. It's just about starting. So it's just about having your tea every day or once a week or every season or whatever your frequency is. And then just having that time alone, quiet with tea. So that's the main thing, is when you're having your tea, you're not doing oracle cards and you're not doing journaling and you're not chatting with friends and you're definitely not on your phone. But you're really just in the meditation in the moment of drinking the tea. And so connected completely with the present moment, with the process, and noticing, engaging your senses. And it can be a 5-minute cup of tea. It can be a 2-hour session with tea. It doesn't matter. It's really just about having a quiet cup of tea.
Beautiful. What drew you to tea to make it your life's work?
Well, I feel like tea found me. I was 26. I just turned 26 and I had just gone through a hard period in life and I had done some hard things to kind of connect with myself and shift the situation. And I found myself working in a tea house in Montana and I came up with this great chai recipe and it literally just turned into a business. And I got fairtradeteas.com because I wanted to change the world through fair trade and ethical teas. And friends showed up to make website, to make labels, to help with sales and everything else. And so literally like it just turned into a business. And I didn't think of myself as a business person. I didn't think of myself as, I was not looking to start a business. I was looking to save the world through tea. And I had a background in agriculture and working with plants. And I really didn't do much. It was very much a dharmic path. And she kind of found me. And over the last 20 something years, there have been a lot of junctures in my path where I've, had to make changes or life has shifted and changed. And every time tea comes back in the most profound ways to the point where I'm like, okay, I get it. This is a thing. This is on. We're doing this. And I'm totally surrendered to it and also so grateful for it because tea has given me, a business and income. It's given me a lot of agency and like self-knowledge. It's a meditation practice. It's medicine for my body. And it's something that I love to share. And it's taken me all around the world and introduced me to such amazing people, whether tea growers or tea importers or tea makers or whatever. I definitely feel like one of the missions or themes of my purpose here in this lifetime is sharing the art and ritual of tea.
Wow, there's a sentence that comes to mind from The Alchemist. He wrote there, Paulo Coelho, that when you follow your personal legend, the universe conspires in your favor. And I really noticed that in my life as well. When I started teaching yoga, it's like the opportunities just showed up at my door. And of course, I had to prepare myself, be ready when they arrived, and be open to noticing them, open to take the opportunities when they showed up. But it wasn't this energy of trying to make things happen. It was just a really beautiful flow of things.
Right. I do think that for me, what has always helped guide me on the path is two things. One is like the following of the bliss, the following of the excitement, the following of that thing that like makes my stomach feel excited and not suppressing that because maybe society or family or friends or whatever are telling me, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. And so I think I've had this mantra in my mind really quite naturally for the last probably 30 years. That's like, why not? Why wouldn't I do that? And I want to do that. I'm going to try it. And so it's saying yes to things, like saying yes to things that make you excited. The Upanishads say your desire is your destiny. So when you follow your desire, your personal legend, maybe by Paulo Coelho, like you follow your desire. And that's what desire is there for, is to turn us on, to alight us on our path. And I think Rumi also is so good at, for me, like when I read Rumi, I always feel like the message is follow your joy, follow your bliss, like drop into the unknown, be in joy, be in love, be in ecstasy. And I think the Western world, religion, society is like, don't be in, that's irresponsible. You have to be responsible. You have to be grounded. You have to try hard, work harder, do more. And I think that's quite linear. So I think it's hard to completely surrender. It's scary into the flow of life or work or purpose. But I think moving more in that direction has felt really liberating to me, to be able to to recognize, to have the awareness to recognize when this seems crazy, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to, because like, I guess it's like untangling. Do I want to do this in a short-term egotistical way, a destructive way, or like in a healthy, like excited, like I deserve this. I'm meant to be joyful and happy. Like I'm meant to come alive in my life and my work because that's how I can then influence other people and help people and have the strength and confidence to be of service. There's two completely different mindsets.
Yeah, I think that's so important. We're meant to go through this life in joy.
Right. My teacher says that, she says with a spiritual alignment and with practice and with like awareness that comes from those things, that even the bad things happen in life, even the sad things happen, the heartbreaks and the tragedies, and they do, and nobody can escape them, but there's always a lightness. There's always a joy. There's always a greater purpose and connection. And it's just a choice. It's like what we said, Einstein, you can live your life as if everything's a miracle or nothing's a miracle. So if you choose to like subscribe to the way Rumi says to look at life instead of the way that like maybe certain religions do, it's just a choice.
I definitely don't think that we're meant to suffer. I see that in a lot of people and the career paths that they choose, and they end up going down a path of what society tells us, what their parents tell them, or even what they think that they should do. And in the end, this path just ends up dimming their light. And I feel like, life kind of passes you by and you end up in a place that you aren't happy. It's beautiful that you were able to follow this path and this call.
I was, and I don't know why, I guess. I mean, my mother always said, follow your nose. When I would complain or get frustrated or have looping thoughts or, need to make a decision on the path, which you do often in life, she'd say, just follow your nose, like allow it to come. Don't force it. So I did get that teaching as a little girl and even still. I don't know what it was. I mean, I think why not popped into my head so much. Maybe it's an adventuresome spirit. Maybe it's like, I don't know, but to use those words and to just do the thing, I guess it depends like how committed you are to doing it perfectly. I remember when I was 20 something and, just coming out of university and getting into my life, and all my friends were going to New York City to get jobs in city and to get on their path and to start their career. And I did a couple of interviews and I was like, I really don't want to do that. I just have no interest at all. Like, what am I going to do in that world? It felt so disconnected and I didn't know what to do instead. I had no idea. And it was really scary and kind of depressing. And I remember just being like, I want to farm. I want to work with plants. Wow. And I moved to Montana, got a job at the food co-op, and like cooked and checked out groceries and had opportunities to learn and found out about an agroecology program and moved to California, like learned how to farm and got a job in Northern California with land and learning about plants and farming and cooking and healing and all these things. And so it's just the path unfolds as we walk it. And sometimes that's hard because the path we've been told to follow is already paved.
Yeah.
You can see it from start. You know where you're headed. It's a safe road. But when you choose to follow your intuition, the path is building as you walk it. And so it's scarier because you can't see where it's going. You don't know. You have to have faith and surrender.
Yeah. How would you recommend to recognize that something like this is happening? And I think we should add also that usually when this happens, it feels pretty scary and it feels like the crazy thing to do. It feels like you're going against everything that everybody has told you. How did you find the courage to follow this path?
And then you see people who like really made the wrong choice and things really fell apart. And then I am like, oh, I don't want to do that. I have, that keeps me sometimes in the safe corner and like the less adventurous corner. I think when I was younger, before I had kids, it was easier just to be like, whatever, it's fine. It's just me. It doesn't matter. I think it's harder now because I have little kids and it's not just me. I have to think about everybody's well-being. It's flexing the intuition through practice, through yoga, through meditation, through tea, through moments of stillness, through quieting the mind enough that the looping thoughts and the chatter of the mind are not what we consider to be real. And so then we have time where we're embodied and we're connecting to our truth and our bodies and our wisdom. And I think when that practice that puts us into awareness of the truth and the wisdom and the clarity in the body, we just get stronger and stronger at noticing our intuition. I think we can trust our intuition and look for signs. And I ask for signs and I look for them and I find them, and sometimes things just feel right. And even though it feels hard and crazy and challenging, and I can't do that, that's so scary. I can't do that. But there's this it's right. And it doesn't go away. That's the thing. I mean, this knowing, it doesn't go away. I can ignore it for a year or 5, 10, but it doesn't go away. And at some point, I think you have to believe in divine timing. There's some point where you have to take action on it. And sometimes I think we do pass up opportunities. And then if it's meant to be on our path, that it comes back. So I think there's just ultimate faith too. You can't mess up. You can't make a wrong decision. And if you do make the wrong decision, then you're only going to learn, and then you'll be less apt to do it the next time. So it's just, when we look at life as a dance, or a flow, I guess it feels less scary.
Definitely. We're talking about intuition, and I think this process of creating teas and choosing your own tea and teas for other people is very much involved in the intuitive feelings that we get about what is right for us and what isn't. So in your view, how do you see, or what is intuition?
Ooh, that's a good question. What is intuition? I guess I believe it's an awareness of our path, an awareness of the energy that surrounds us and the essence of who we are and what we're here doing on this earth in this lifetime. So I think intuition, it's a knowing, it's a connectedness, and it feels like an awareness of, whether you want to call it the universe, divine destiny, spirit, God, whatever. I think it comes from a connection to something greater than us, and an attunement almost to that, an alignment to it. And I think of, my grandmother was very clairvoyant, and she would have psychic dreams and all these things. And I always thought, because she lived in Finland and she had a pretty nature-based existence, and her lineage too had more of a nature-based existence, and we could hike in the forest and she always knew where she was. She could sense if there were going to be elk, or where the mushrooms were, if we were hunting them, or she just had an awareness of her environment and the energy of her world and people's energy. And so that came through in dreams. She would dream people dying. When people would die, you did not want for her to have a dream about you, because it was always very telling. And so I think it's just connection. It's connection to something greater. It's connection to the universe. It's connection into the energetic fields that are around us. And I think it's something that we all have, and that we can all strengthen, by trusting, by doing practices, by getting quiet, by being in nature, and all of these other things. Because if we just live really fast, loud lives, I think it's really hard to connect to your intuition. You're getting media at you all the time. You're getting your brain's looping. You've got stuff to do. I think of the 6 espresso Peloton kind of business person, that's just gunning and going and doing and productive. And if you never balance that with the yin aspect, you never balance that with stillness, quiet, introspection, connection, nature, it's not whole. So I think intuition is just an awareness of connection, I guess.
Yeah, so true. The connection to these knowings, these feelings that we get is very subtle, and you don't feel it if you don't take the time to slow down and notice the subtleties, the nuances of life and of sensation in your body and your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I have found in my tea practice, since I've started pouring tea in this way with these types of teas and creating that space, I truly feel my intuition, my magnetism, my like alignment, my path is so much more illuminated by these practices of silence and of beauty and of quiet. It's hard to describe why, but it really, yeah, we need that balance, and we're just largely out of balance.
Yeah, tuning into something greater. So as a hostess of ceremonies and a space holder, your energy that you bring kind of sets the tone for the whole ceremony. What kind of hostess do you aspire to be?
Oh, that's a great question too. I always try to keep my energy clean. Like before I go to pour tea, if I need to clean my energy up through like deep breathing or through smudging or Palo Santo or whatever, a bath, any way to clean my energy. Of course, like eating good food and trying to stay aligned. Those are things I do to try to keep the energy clean and flowing. And then I kind of just try to disappear and like allow it to be about the tea. So I am aware that my energy flows in. I always like Reiki the tea. I Reiki the space. I ask always for guidance to come in and for tea to guide me and for, the guides to come and like to be guided and directed. And, but I connect, it's not about me. Like I'm just the vehicle. So I'm the channel of the tea and I can express her essence and, and hopefully create space to provide whatever it is that people are looking for. But I do notice sometimes I can really sense people's energy at tea when, it's just so interesting how you can feel the energy of the group. And sometimes I notice if I get emotional in tea, oftentimes we have these emotional releases in tea. Oftentimes people cry and they find like something that touches their heart, something that expands them. But I notice when I get to that space and I want to start crying, it kind of dominoes a bit. If I'm feeling really connected, I think everybody's feeling really connected. But mostly the job of that role is to step out of the way and to clean your energy up and just to completely be a channel and to just allow the energy to flow and to be in the rhythm, to be the rhythm, to be the vessel.
Great. I think that's beautiful to allow the person to do their own practice. I feel that way also about a yoga practice. I'm just there to facilitate the space, but it's really about letting people that show up just express themselves and do whatever they need to do in that moment.
Right. And creating that, I really find beyond, like in teaching yoga, beyond the words I speak or the asanas that I choose or the sequence that I come up with, because sometimes if I'm not prepared and I haven't done a great job creating that structure, I find the best thing I can do is to just connect, to be in flow, to ask for guidance, to help everybody find their highest self and what they're looking for, and to create an energy that's calm and loving and safe and held. And I've noticed that lately. It's been really empowering because it's really not about the words or the poses or anything else. It's just about the energy that you're putting into it, the intention, the flow, the love, all of it.
Right. And that reminds me of something that you said earlier, that the tea practice is not about doing it in a certain way. There isn't a recipe of how to do it. It's more about the person expressing themselves in the moment and letting it be what they need it to be.
Right. When steeping tea.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And it varies for everybody because we all have different palates. We all have different what we like. And it's like a self-knowledge practice too, right? Like, I like it this way. Well, I like it that way. Great.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So we end each episode with a few rapid fire questions, our closing curiosities. So the first one is, how do you define happy?
Oh, these are not going to be that rapid, I'm afraid. How do I define happy? Connected, in flow, in faith, peaceful. Beautiful. I can't follow rules. They're not going to be rapid and they're not going to be.
Say what you feel is the right thing to say. Definitely. What gives you hope?
Human spiritual evolution gives me a lot of hope right now for our earth.
There's definitely an evolution going on. What are you curious about right now?
I'm not going to say the thing that popped to my mind because it's embarrassing, but I'm going to.
This is a safe place.
I'm curious about. I think I better not say that out loud. I'm curious about so many things. What am I curious about right now? I'm curious about the divine feminine, like the energy of the divine feminine and this role of like yin versus yang and the power of surrender, the strength in letting go, and that it feels like an oxymoron, but yeah.
Beautiful. Is there anything else that is important for you to mention?
Yeah. That I think for Yandara, I have as far as like giving tribute to this place, I've been so in love with Yandara for so long since I first stepped foot on this beach. And it's been such an honor to be able to do retreats here. And we just finished the New Year's Rituals retreat, and I just booked for next year. So it's, so if people did want to come and learn more about plants and plant medicine and tea and ceremony and rewilding and all of these things that kind of I expressed through Tea Huntress, we have that in January 2023.
Beautiful. I'll be there.
Yay, I'm so excited.
And how can listeners stay connected with you?
So you can go to teahuntress.com for the website. There's, again, playlists at Spotify under Tea Huntress. Instagram is at @T_Huntress, and you can message me on any of those platforms.
Great.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you so much. I could chat with you all day.
Yeah, we will continue this conversation offline for sure.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, after this time to nurture your mind and your spirit, we invite you to take a moment to consider others. A kind wish might come to mind. Know that what we learn becomes more valuable when we apply it and share it with others. So share this episode on Instagram stories, tag Yandara and I, or share with a loved one so that more people can benefit from it. Our hope is that the search will lead you home to who you already are, to what was always there. We'll be back next week with more inspiration, honest conversation, and insight into the energetic world around us. Thank you for listening and watching.